Story begins with a monologue explaining how monsters known as players came into existence and managed to merge with society. Kanzaki, a man who works in an underground laboratory, absconds with a baby sleeping in a capsule while an old man named Mitsugai tries to stop him. However, Kanzaki successfully escapes into the shadows. 10 years later, a couple is seen walking down the street. The woman expresses her fear of a serial killer and suggests going home. Despite her concerns, the man downplays the severity of the situation and even mentions that witnessing a serial killing would be thrilling. Unbeknownst to them, the aforementioned serial killer passes by taking the life of the man unnoticed and leaving the woman screaming in terror. Investigators arrive at the scene, and one of them wonders how such an event could occur in broad daylight. Mysterious men pass by in a black car. An elderly man sitting in the black car mentions his need to find a child, prompting one of the investigators to question whether the child is still alive. The man grins and claims to be an immortal devil. The scene shifts to the grown-up baby named Jin, who is preparing to leave. His grandfather Kanzaki stops him, insisting that he forgot something and hands him his cell phone. Encountering a woman named Akemi in distress, Jin comes to her aid, defeating a group of attackers for 10,000 yen. His friends, Kuga and Kenoa, arrive with Kuga pulling Jin away, asserting that justice doesn't require rewards. Jin reveals a mark on his hand called the Angel's Ring but instructs his friends to keep it a secret. Meanwhile, a mysterious man named Seiji strikes a deal with the same player who had previously killed a man. Jin encounters Akemi again, receives his payment of 10,000 yen and returns home to discover everyone dead. Perplexed by the situation, he attempts to seek medical help for his deceased grandfather Kanzaki, but is denied by a doctor. Consequently, he ends up going to Akemi, who takes him in as Kanzaki had passed away in the hospital. On the other hand, Akemi brings Jin to her home and they share a bath. Jin inquires about death and Akemi responds that he wishes to reunite with his grandfather, breaking down in tears. The following day, they go shopping but are attacked by the same player. Akemi tries to shield Jin but is injured in the process. This infuriates Jin, leading him to activate his Zet powers. He defeats the player with a single blow but loses consciousness in the process. He awakens in a hospital with an investigator by his side, who imparts words of advice. Jin asks about the meaning of hope. The investigator takes Jin to Akemi's room and explains that she represents his hope, resulting in an embrace between them. Several years later, Seiji is shown conversing with another rampaging player possessing fire abilities. Meanwhile, a fight breaks out between two homeless individuals go down. Kenoa, who is distributing food with her mother, tries to stop the fight. Just when she is about to get attacked, a teenager steps in and stops the fight. The teenager turned out to be none other than Jin himself. He walks away and goes to Akemi, who is now working in a stall in the underground laboratory. Mitsugai is working to create another Zet like Jin, but fails to do so even with Kanzaki data. In a party arranged by Amani Corporation, the adult Kuga makes a statement to become an ally of justice like Alphas, who is a superhero in an anime. He goes out and joins his crew to locate the arsonist. Meanwhile, Jin walks out from home because of itching in his senses. He discovers the arsonist in a building and fights with him. The arsonist gives Jin a hard time. Meanwhile, Kuga reaches the building with his crew. He meets with Jin and uses his fire extinguishing spray on the surrounding fire. They discovered a family stuck in the building. Jin throws the family with the bed down to save them. Kuga escapes the scene and unintentionally gains the credit for saving the family. Jin struggles against the arsonist and ends up activating his Zet powers. He transforms into a monster and kills him with one punch. Jin escapes the building and falls unconscious. Kinova takes him to the hospital where her grandfather Mitsugai identifies him as the child taken by Kanzaki. Jin wakes up and finds his foster mother held by a player. Jin transforms, enraged to save his mother, while Mitsugai and other scientists keep track of his transformation from outside. He kills the other player with a single punch. As usual, for the first time in his life, Jin witnesses his Zet form. In a rage, he breaks the glass of the laboratory. He is shocked to find that his mother has turned into a player, so he must kill her, as Zet form cannot stand a berserk living player in the surroundings. The armed men of Mitsugai shoot his mother. As he fails to kill her, Jin breaks into tears while returning to his human form. Mitsugai gives him a dose of medicine and takes him to an abandoned underground facility. He explains to him that they made him and Kanzaki was his father. Mitsugai develops some monsters to make money, but these monsters developed intelligence and broke out into human society to atone for his sin. They made a powerful monster with the power of Ring of Exposure that can reveal a monster disguise in human flesh. And that monster is none other than Jin Kanzaki. Just when they are leaving, the ring of exposure on the wall begins to resonate with the ring on the left arm of Jin, indicating they are connected. Mitsugai takes him to the stall where Akemi is working perfectly fine. He breaks it to Jin that the Akemi he saw in the laboratory was a monster made by them to test his Zet transformation level. Jin decides to meet her, but Mitsugai stops him. He tells him from now on he should maintain distance from his beloved ones, because if he lives with her, other players will target her. Upon reaching the household of Amagi, he asks Jin to join him so that he can stop the players from wreaking havoc. Jin accepts his offer as the old guy promised to heal off the scar on her foster mother's face. He tells him about the final form of Zet, which is red and more powerful than all players. Seiji is found wandering near the abandoned facility. He discovers a broken part of the ring of exposure, to which he smiles and walks out. 2 years later, the investigators discover another case of killing. This time, the victim has turned into sand. In downtown, several players are killing humans. A red-haired girl unintentionally witnesses the whole thing. She leaves her case and runs for her life. The player keeps on searching for her. The girl hides in a small house, while the men from Amagi Corporation watch the whole thing. From cameras, we see a flashback where Mitsugai conducts various tests on Jin to transform him into Zet, but all in vain. They developed a gum called Activation Gum to kickstart his transformation, but still, the results were not good. On the other hand, Kanoha and her mother continue to distribute food to homeless people in the Amani Corporation building. The teammates of Kuga imprison him with new gadgets capable of helping in various situations. On his way back, the secretary of his father encourages him to continue his work of justice. He tells him about his secret project of creating a powerful suit with the military technology of the company for him to continue his work for justice. Kanola comes across Jin again. She tries to talk to him, but he tells her to stay away from him. After coming home, Jin finds the red-haired girl hiding in his house. He tells her to get out, but she explains about the dangerous man outside looking for her. He gives her food, to which she compliments him a lot. She tries to ask him more, but Jin ignores her. Suddenly, he gets a stench and heads out. While telling her to stay in the house, she chases after him and finds her lost bag. As she grabs her bag, the man from before appears behind her and holds her down. She tries to fight back, but all in vain. Jin intervenes and demands 10,000 yen for saving her, to which she happily agrees. The man attacks him, but he brilliantly counters and attacks him. The man reverts to his original player form, and Jin ends up taking the activation gum. Despite activating some power, the man beats him up. The subordinates of Mitsugai shoot the captured girl with a sleeping drug. As the player drives Jin to death, he miraculously transforms into White Zet, a new form, and kills him. Mitsugai is thrilled to see this transformation of Zet. However, things are not normal yet because the player's main body has escaped. The man, dressed in a white suit known as Sweeper, kills the player's main body because of a violation of their rules. The man belongs to Eval, an organization consisting of elite players. Jin reverts to his human form and takes the girl home. Upon reaching home, Jin is backstabbed by the Sweeper, and Mitsugai is shocked to find the existence of Sweeper. Seiji intervenes and tells the Sweeper to stop because their boss will be angry over his death. Jin asks questions, but he tells him they are secret. Seiji tells him he is waiting for his final transformation and leaves. Mitsugai and his men reach the destination and are relieved to find Jin alive even after encountering the Sweeper. On the other hand, Kuga visits the secret lab with his father's secretary. His team presents him with a strength suit developed following the superhero Alpha's suit. Kuga points out the mistakes in the design and asks them to modify it. Kuga thanks the secretary for his continuous support. On his way back home, he encounters a man who claims to be his fan. He tells him that he will support Kuga if he manages to clear some tests for a hero. He shows him a video of Kenova drowning in the school's swim pool while her teacher stands still in the corner. He also shows him 3 girls in danger who also happen to be his fans. He asks him who he will protect as a test. Kuga rushes to the school of Kanoha only to find her safely taking swimming classes with her teacher. The scene shifts to a bar where the man is giving money to Kanoha's teacher for her fake actions. The bar turns out to be the base of Eval, and all people in the bar are elite players. The next morning, Kuga sees the news about the murder of 3 high school girls. Just like the man told, he receives a call from that man who tells him that he failed the test. Kuga asks his secretary to locate this man to stop him from future murders. He receives a call from Kanoha. She invites him in her plan of meeting Jin, but Kuga harshly refuses. Next, we see the same 2 players from earlier who escape from the battle with Jin. Soon they are interrupted by Seiji, who compels them to kill Jin as they despise him. He also assures them that he will stop the Sweeper from interfering, to which they happily agree. The scene shifts to Jin, who walks out with a red-haired girl to buy food. He comes across Kenova, who is surprised to see Jin with a girl. Jin leaves after having a short conversation with Kenova. Suddenly, Jin comes back due to his sixth sense, only to find the players who kidnapped Kenova and her friend. The man reverts to his player form and attacks him. Jin suddenly realizes that he has left the activation gum at home, much to his dismay. On the other hand, Kuga receives a call from Konoha asking for help. Kuga equips the modified suit and leaves to save her. Jin sustained heavy damage during his fight with the player as he couldn't transform. Mitsugai and his team continue to track his stats for Zet transformation. Jin gathers his strength and lands a solid punch on the player, but he turns out unharmed from the smoke. The other player tortures Konoha to the point she ends up wetting herself. Jin leaves to save Konoha. After dealing some damage to the player, Jin enters an abandoned building and saves Konoha. But the hiding player attacks him and pierces his weapon like sharp limb through him. Just when things are looking very grim, Kuga makes an appearance in Alpha's suit and kills the player with his beam gun. He experiences another challenging choice, as his helicarrier can lift up only 2 people while there are 3 injured people, including Jin. He carries Kenova and her friend to the helicarrier and sends them off. Upon constant pressure from Jin, Kuga explains to him that he has become Alphas to serve justice. Jin leaves to kill the remaining player. However, he struggles to stand because of severe injuries. The homeless guys gather to fight the player. Kuga steps in to save them. On the other hand, Seiji makes an appearance and throws Jin into a room. He breaks it to him that he knows all about him and how he's trying to transform into Zet by damaging. Seiji takes out a stake made from the fragments of the ring of exposure taken from the abandoned facility. He engraves the stake in the chest of Jin, making him scream in endless pain. Soon after, a spark of energy emerges and Jin's ring on his left hand begins to glow, transforming him into Zet first. His body turns black and white, which is an indication of the third form. But the transformation doesn't stop there. After a massive explosion, Zet achieves his final form, which is red and black in color. The impact of transformation destroys the whole building, and after the smoke clears, Zet's marvelous final form surfaces. Seiji is delighted to see him in his final stage. In his red form, Zet has a showdown with the player who boasts about raping and eating. Red-haired girl Tanaka Zet flashes his ring of exposure, making the player regress involuntarily. He's about to finish off the player, but gets interrupted by Seiji. Seiji urges Zet to kill the player. Seiji addresses the player and says that he only used him to trigger Zet's transformation. Maddened by the deceit, the player attacks, but Zet uses his razor-sharp limb to kill the player and his bud-like clones. As the workers of Amagni Corporation monitor Zet's transformation level, they are alarmed to see a continuous rise in the transformation process. Meanwhile, in the hospital, Kenoba's condition appears to be grim. Back at the battle scene, Zet is infuriated by Seiji's treachery to his own kind. He points the ring of exposure at him. Seiji confesses that the ring will not do him harm as he's different from other players. With that, he bids Jin farewell. In a bar, a bartender is informed about Zet's red form. He says to the informer that humans might discover their identity. The scientists monitor the drop in Alpha's ability levels as Alpha's is linked with Kuga's consciousness. The scientists praise Kuga for the bravado he showed while saving Kenova. The affirmations seem to work as Kuga channels Alphas with confidence. As the player and Kuga are fighting, Zet makes an entry. Kuga is confused to see Zet there, since he's unaware that Zet is Jin. The player faces Zet and shames him for following human orders. Back at the hospital, Kano's friend gives a pendant adorned with a red stone to Yuko, Kano's mother, saying that they were making their way to return it back to Jin. Together, Zet and Kuga finish off the player. As Zet reverts back to his human form, Kuga cries at the sight of his childhood friend and praises Jin for fending off the monsters all alone. Jin rushes home to see Tanaka, naked but safe and sound. He hugs her and asks about her well-being. After securing Tanaka and finishing off the players, Jin and Kuga are praised by the locals for their bravery. Then 2 men in suits appear, informing the boys that Chairman Amagi awaits them. Mitsugai apologizes to his grandson for finding out the truth in such awful conditions. Kuga pleads with his grandfather to disclose the secrets regarding Jin and the players, while the men in suits take a brief account of Tanaka's experience in a hospital room, telling her she's good to go. The same man in the bar is conversing with Seiji, who asks him for permission to handle Jin. Outside Tanaka's hospital room, Kuga sees Jin and says he knows everything. He expresses his wish to join forces with Jin to fight the players. On the other hand, Jin doesn't share Kuga's enthusiasm. Taking out a drawing of Jin's red form, Kuba tells Jin that his final Zep form was inspired by an animation he calls Jin the Zetman. The two enter Tanaka's room, where they're bombarded by questions for the greater good. The boys deny knowing anything. As Jin's on his way to meet Tanaka, he's stopped by Mitsugai, who not only tells Jin to break up with Tanaka, but also to accompany him to the lab for some tests. Tanaka insists on coming with Jin, but is met with refusal that Jin tells her to return to her home. Tanaka says that she will wait for Jin, and the possibility of love brews between the two, which makes Tanaka disclose her first name as Hanako. From afar, Kanoha watches the couple with a broken heart. Jin is plugged with monitoring machines. Mitsugai tells Kuga that Zet was the byproduct of Net, an experiment on making non-human species. After the tests are concluded, Kuga asks Jin about his opinion on Zet, as he believes that people around him are using him. Jin says he embraced this path to serve humanity, so he doesn't care. Through the computer, Jin suddenly hears Kanzaki's voice and demands to know the whereabouts of his gramps. Mitsugai takes Jin to a hidden vault where he is appalled to see Kanzaki's severed head attached to machines. Mitsugai says in order to preserve Kanzaki's knowledge, he took serious measures, but in the process, Kanzaki somehow developed consciousness. So he tells Jin to ask his grandfather how to achieve full Zet transformation. Jin's own consciousness doesn't allow him to ask Kanzaki, so he decides to pull the plugs on his grandfather. Yuko gets a call from Kuga inquiring about the red stone. She tells Kuga that Tanaka has it unbeknownst to her. Seiji is listening in on the conversation through a hole in the ceiling, plotting his attack breaching the safety of the Amagi household. The translucent player transforms into Jin and aggressively demands Tanaka to return his pendant. Hesitantly, Tanaka reaches toward the pendant along with Jin. The members of Amagi Corporation make an urgent entrance at the Amagi house. They are greeted with two lookalikes of Jin with swords in their hands. One of the lookalikes addresses Jin as a brother, telling him that they were created from his blood. Mitsugai exclaims that it's impossible, but is cut by Dr. Sajida, who tells him that since Jin is still incomplete, clones can be created. One of the clones attacks Mitsugai, but Sajida jumps to protect him, making the sword pierce through his body. The clone makes a second attempt at Mitsugai, but Sajida jumps in again, this time taking the sword in his shoulder. The fight ends when Jin activates his transformation. He brings the Ring of Exposure to play, making the clones disintegrate. Kuga rushes to ask Tanaka about the pendant. Meanwhile, Sajida mutters his last words, expressing his wish to see Zet's complete form. Gyro holds the pendant in his hand while talking to Seiji on call, grinning as the Amagi house goes up in flames. Meanwhile, Hanako is leaving her parents' house despite her mother's pleas. As she's on the road, she falls due to agonizing pain in her head. On a safe base, Kanoha is terrified and demands answers from the scientists and her mother, who try to console her by giving her the same excuse of not knowing. Jin is making his way home when he is greeted by the bartender who seems to know about Zet. Angrily, he questions the man if he works for Seiji. Making the man chuckle, he discloses his identity as the Master of Avowal. Jin takes on a fighting stance but notices the sweeper's presence behind him. The Master of Avowal assures Jin that he wishes to join hands with him to take down Seiji, as he broke the law off leading a quiet life and coexisting peacefully with humans. Jin agrees with his proposal by saying the enemy of my enemy is my friend. In the office, Yuko meets up with Saizu, who shames her for her attire. Paying no heed to his words, Yuko compels her husband to prioritize the safety of his children. Saizu brushes off her concerns by saying that he is the president of Amagi Corporation first, and then a father to Kanoha and Kuga. Hayami informs Kuga that Alphas is to be sent to the headquarters upon Seiji's orders. Kuga angrily says that nothing less can be expected from his father. He begrudgingly gives in when suddenly a man informs Kuga that Kanoha is missing. Jin meets up with Hanako at his house. The two share an intimate kiss together, revealing their feelings for one another. Kuga gets a call from Gyro, who cryptically tells Kuga that he knows where Kanoha is. Kuga arms himself and chips in a tracking device for the group of scientists to keep track of him. Ayami warns Kuga that it could all be a trap. Kuga says that as long as there's a possibility of saving Kanoha, he must go. Meanwhile, Jin and Hanako have some fun. Jin tells her about how he made money by saving people to buy a house. Hanako says that she hasn't paid Jin for the time he saved her. Jin affectionately says that she doesn't need to as she's family. The blissful moment is cut short by Kuga's call informing Jin about Kanoha's disappearance. Meanwhile, Kuga meets up with Gyro. Together, the two drive off in a car when suddenly Gyro drugs him, making the tracking device go off the radar. Jin promises Hanako that when he returns, he'll disclose all his secrets to her. Kuga wakes up in a room with an earpiece attached to him. Gyro toys with him, saying that if he wishes to find Konoha, he must first find Gyro. He enters a room filled with girls that are delighted to see him. Gyro questions Kuga about who he will save, Konoha or the girls outside. Kuga gets in a fighting stance to take on the Hammerman. Meanwhile, Seiji appears on live television to disclose the existence of a vault. He lets the players loose on humans as verification for his words. As Kuga takes on the Hammerman, he starts to enjoy the fight. He finally puts an end to the Hammerman. Kuga asks Gyro to release the girls, and he does so by shooting a laser beam to slash open the girls, making them disappear from this world itself. Meo appears beside Kuga and says that she knows where Gyro is. Despite being skeptical, Kuga goes with her still on air. Seiji outs the involvement of the Amagas in creating the players, by revealing that players were simply made for sick pleasure. Jin saves the humans from Seiji's players, but the humans around him scowl and scrutinize him. They dump him, a monster, upon seeing him in his Zet form. Luckily, he's saved by the detective. Gyro and Cuba have a face-off. Gyro mocks Cuba's sense of justice and reveals his hatred for Amati Corp, especially Saizu, as he left Gyro and his son Ikaru to die in the lab where the players were created. In order to survive, he merged himself and Ikaru with a player. Gyro proceeds to say that he aligned himself with Seiji to take down the Amatis. Hayami steps out from the shadows, and Kuga is flabbergasted to find Hayami conspiring with Seiji to rule over the Amani Corporation. Ikaru also unveils his ability to control people by bugging them. Meanwhile, Saizu holds a press conference with Mamoru to defend the name of Amagi. Unbeknownst to him, Mamoru is bugged by Ikaru. In the middle of the press, Mamoru acts out and says that everything Seiji said was true and then shoots himself. Hayami says that he will make Kuga a hero for the world after he kills his father. In a fit of rage, Kuga uses his gun to land a triple kill on Gyro. Hayami and Ikaru Mayu come out of her bug state now that Ikaru is dead, and together the two step out of the building, where they're greeted by the scientists. Kuba dons the Alpha's suit, ready to fight. Meanwhile, Seiji launches an assault on Saizu. Despite having a backup, Saizu is overwhelmed by the players. Jin makes an entrance in his Zet form, but is quickly overpowered by Seiji, who says he will help Jin achieve his full transformation. Disengaging the limits on Alphas, Kuga takes flight to defeat Seiji. Meanwhile, Seiji pierces Jin with his mere fingers, making him double in pain. If Jin wishes to save humanity, he must stab himself with the stake made out of red stone to achieve complete transformation. Seiji, about to impale Jin with the red stake, is interrupted by Kuga. Jin tells Kuga to get the stake from Seiji. Saizu orders Kuga to kill Jin, but to his dismay, Kuga points his gun at his father, calling him the root of all evil. Saizu orders his soldiers to finish off his son. Jin tries to stop Kuga, but his appeals are unheard. Yuko jumps to save Saizu, but all in vain as the bullet goes past her, injuring Yuko and killing Saizu. Seiji beckons Jin to stab himself so he can eviscerate humanity. Kuga urges Jin not to do so, as he believes that the red stake is stained with evil. Jin goes ahead and impales himself anyways, when Seiji uses Hanako as bait. Lo and behold, Jin finally achieves his mighty transformation, giving him the appearance of no less than a titan with red and black skin. Jin's ring of exposure gleams, tormenting the crowd of people with headaches. Just then, Hanako transforms into a player. Seiji, now in his monster's form, informs Jin that the ring of exposure causes the players to regress, ensuring that they never revert back to their human forms. Jin is in disbelief to see Hanako as a player. Kano is watching everything unfold, with the detective by her side. The detective notes that Hanako is the sand monster that turned humans into sand. Kuga valiantly battles the players, while Seiji reveals that Hanako was a trap for Jin. He taunts Jin for the dreams he shared with Hanako. Jin gets a flashback of all the people that touched his life. He calls Seiji a liar and staggers to attack him. Seiji taunts Jin to kill Hanako, as he was made to be the harbinger of death for the players. With Kuga's wicked sense of justice running loose, he uses his sword to finish off Hanako. Seiji mockingly thanks Kuga for bringing a callous Jin to the surface. Traumatized by Hanako's loss, Jin marches towards Seiji, who beckons him to finish Kuga as he's the real enemy. Jabbing his hand inside Seiji's chest, Jin takes out his heart and crushes it, sending Seiji to his demise. On the sidelines, the detective and Konoha watch Kuga unravel into madness. He retorts that Jin is no longer a hero, and as long as the ring of exposure exists, humanity will be a threat, so Jin must perish. Jin says he doesn't give a damn, making Kuga point his gun at him. The sound of a bullet rings in the air. 3 years later, Alphas is making headlines as a hero who saves people from the players that quench their bloodlust by preying on them. In his day job, Kuga works as the president of the Amagi Corporation. Mayo greets Kuga lovingly, and they talk about the event that took place 3 years ago. The flashback picks up from the fight between Cuba and Jin as Kuga pulls the trigger. Jin appears behind him with the speed of light. Cuba tumbles back as Jin unleashes the might of Zet's charisma, gaining a tail and bat-like wings in the process. The surge of power emitting out of Jin is felt by the leader of Eval in his bar, and by the sweeper. Jin is about to kill Kuga, but his merciful nature gets the best of him. He tells Kuga to keep his head up and disappears into the night. As Kuga is about to go after Jin, he is stopped by Kanoa, who tells him to fall back. Mitsugai also makes an appearance, and tells Kuga to let Jin go as Kanzaki's upbringing has made Jin compassionate towards humankind. The flashback ends, and we see Jin fighting off the players from the shadows without any care for titles and praises from the world. Unlike Kuga, like this video and subscribe to Annie Summary for more anime recap.